So let's build the geometry for the air intakes. As you can see, I already have my curves for the geometry already placed, and the last circle, as you can see, still has 12 points. However, that's not really the amount of points I just need. Something like this, with 6 points, that is more than sufficient, because I'm not really going to manipulate the circle. I'm just only going to use it simply as a geometrical primitive, and to make it visually not so dense, I would like to, for example, this one also give only 6 points, and as a reminder to do this, you can select any curve, then you can go to Control Panel, and then inside Spans, for example, I go and select 6. And then click Accept. And then the circle basically will be recreated just with 6 control points. Okay, so that thing we have done. Now we have to create a path the circles will be extruded along, and to do this we can go and select the Create CV curve. I'm going to point snap, so pressing Control to the first point. Then I also snap to the second point, and maybe also the third point. So this profile I'm going to create pretty much mimics the flow of the lower curve I created to build the upper part of the handle, but now the last point I'm going to place somewhere here. And there you can see that the white line at the beginning very much follows the curvature of the vacuum surface, and then it more and more moves away from that surface. So the reason why I do this is, if we now go into the perspective view and zoom in, and the command to create the surfaces will be Extrude. So we can go Extrude, double click it. Now we should have tube, and we don't need caps. Create history, make sure that one is on. Then we can select our 3 rings. When you have that done, click OK, and then it asks you to select the path along we're going to extrude those, and this is the path here. You click it, and then you see that the way how those pipes are created, at the beginning they intersect with the vacuum, and then they move away, and at one point don't really even intersect with that curve or the surface anymore. And maybe in this case they're intersecting a little bit too far to the side, so I have to change my extrusion path a little bit. So I go into the CV picker, click this point here, and go to transform and move. Hold on, I have other stuff selected. Okay, so just this point, and then middle mouse button. Let's see how this looks. Still too far inside. Or maybe the second point here. I'm going to move a little bit to the right as well. And I'm spacing out the points so that the curve becomes more a nice even flow. You can see if I move this point to here, this part is getting kind of straight, and then you have a small arc. That's not really very desirable. So I want a nice and even curve. And yeah, something like this will be okay and sufficient. Okay. Those parts I'm going to move over to my surface layer. And then I can go to surfaces, turn profiles off. And in the following step, we have to go and intersect the surfaces with each other. So let's make double click on both surfaces. The surface, go and intersect with all three tubes and create the intersection curves. And then when we have that done, we can go to trim and start cutting the geometry away. And here we discard as well. Okay, so let's turn on the symmetry. Maybe let's turn the wireframe off. And there we have kind of like something built that could resemble the air intake.